Welcome back again. This is Fox, a brand new Let's Play today. As you can tell from the title, we are going to be doing something, well, we're going to be doing a lot with tourists. I did a little questionnaire in my Discord. Well, not a questionnaire, I just had 2 or 3 different ideas of different new sort of Let's Plays and things I could do to make the game more interesting rather than just a standard max pop run. So, the people decided they wanted me to do something with tourists. I myself have not really messed with tourists at all. I did the quest line once, built the Iron Tower, and then did some calculations to input it into a max pop run, and it wasn't worth it, so I haven't really done anything with them. So, they wanted me to do something with tourists, and me being me, my something with tourists is going to be a big something with tourists. I am going to do a max tourist run. So, the whole of the New World and the whole of the Cape is going to be tourists, or as many as we can fit in. Obviously, the production they need to supply them will take up a little bit of space. I've already started doing the calculations, but we'll run through a little bit of that later on. For now, we're going to jump into the save. Talk to you a little bit about this save, where it's came from, and where I'm going to start off. So, I am not going to start a fresh game. The main reason being, I want to get this Let's Play done before the last DLC comes out later on in this year, when we're going to start another max pop run. So, for the purpose of this max tourist run, I'm going to use this save, this is like my test bed, if you like. This is where I've been testing out the tourists. We'll talk about what's going on here in a minute. This was a save that Wicked had prepared, ready for us to do another record run. This is the modified 975 seed. It's the community seed, the record seed that the Germans built. It's got more tiles than 975. It's virtually the same. There's a couple of different oriented islands and stuff like that. So yeah, this is the save I'm going to be using. Whatever is here obviously will be deleted at some point. And everything's going to be investors. But I'll talk about what the save is. Now, Wicked had built up a real big population of scholars. We've got 11,123,000 research points. So as you can imagine, most of the islands are scholars. They're just being fed at the minute by bicycle factories. Excuse me, penny farthings, and then the goods that they make are being traded for to supply them, like we did in the last record run. So I've got 3 or 4 islands of scholars over here. There's 2 or 3 islands of scholars in the old world, and then there is this bad boy. This is an island that I tested, that I built up, and is running solely off the arbitrage system. So no input is put into this island for it to work. It is just recycling cabs, trading them for themselves. And that is 616,479 people on this island. Now, I've got a plan for this island. This is probably going to be the only island that I'm going to keep. Mainly for the influence. It's generating 15,279. Depending on how much space we have left in the New World, when we've made all the goods that the hotels need, I may generate some influence over there from the haciendas, because we can do that now. Obrero houses generate influence. And then we'll shrink this down so that it's not so... There's not so many skyscrapers on here. Maybe fit in some hotels over here. One thing I will say, the only rule that I have set for this playthrough is that I want no docklands trading when the save is done. That means all of the hotels, all of the goods they need, all of the restaurants and everything, all of the goods that are needed to supply them and supply the restaurants, cafe and bar, everything will be made the traditional way. I wanted to step away from the docklands trading for a while and just get back to building super efficient islands, which is what we're going to do. So yeah, the New World, there's nothing going on over here. I've got 2 islands. This one is supporting the investors. This one was a test bed again. At the minute it's generating me some citrus and cinnamon and stuff, just for my testing purposes for the hotels. There's a real basic setup in the Arctic. Most of the plateaus, all of the plateaus are built up just with basic amenities to generate. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. The plateaus are built up to with just enough population to get the gas mines running. Don't know whether we're going to need the gas at all, but we are going to be using the Arctic for caribou meat. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. The whole plateau is spanned with airships, so we can farm scrap. We are going to be using a lot of airships to dump goods and stuff like that in the traditional way that we did in the last save. Embesser is totally empty. We are going to be using Embesser. We're going to be using this for lobsters. We're going to be using it for hibiscus petals and spices. These are going towards some of the recipes in, I think it's the restaurant. No, it's the bar, actually. It's a drink called Enbesson Sunrise that we're going to be using goods from over here. The lobsters are also going to be generating us gold because we need an awful lot of stuff to supply these. Let's go to the Anno calculator. Actually, we need the beta one. If you bear with me a second. Dux has updated the Anno 1800 calculator now to take into account the new fertilizer and stuff like that. So this is my calculations. I calculated 4 million tourists. Probably going to be able to produce a lot more, but I think I'm going to have to. I probably could have a lot more, but I think I'm going to have to sacrifice 1 or 2 islands for production. So 4 million tourists. These are the recipes that I chose: lobster chamonix, the eclair, Embassador Sunrise, and the brioche royale for the iron towers. Yes, I suppose we best talk about what they actually need, these hotels. So this has just been a little test island where I've just built up a couple of clusters. I've been working on some I wanted to create a pattern that was totally totally modular. So we build an island up with town halls and I can just copy and paste this pattern in. It works really well. We'll be going over this in detail as it comes through. So every town hall is having its own restaurant, a cafe, and a bar. It has its own variety theatre, or I think we may be able to shrink these down, but to keep the grid how it was, I'm just going to give them its only money. We're going to be generating hundreds of thousands and millions of pounds. Each one has a town hall, each one has a trade union affecting the bars and cafes because there's some useful items. Well, one useful item which we can use, which we will go on. We'll cover that in a later video. So they need a tourist mooring. They need a variety theatre. So the tourist mooring is simply your public mooring, and then you upgrade it to a tourist mooring. They then need jam. This is the big meme. We need 2,000 jam a minute or something. We'll show you in a bit. They need shampoo. They need an iron tower. No electricity because I've been moving stuff around, but yeah, we'll forget about that. They need an iron tower. They need bread. They need access to a restaurant, a bar, and a cafe, and these have to be working with a recipe in for them to affect them. So variety theatre, tourist mooring, iron tower, they're just things you plop down. Restaurant, cafe, and bar, they need goods to supply the recipes. The jam is an orchard. We're going to have to clip them, or maybe not. Again, in a future video, I'll talk about my decisions on how we're going to make the jam. Bread, piece of cake, bakeries. They then need 2 of these happiness things. You need to give them fur coats. You have to give them jewellery. Yeah, 2 of these you need to give them. The lemonade we're not going to, and the souvenirs we're not going to, because they just use crazy amount of stuff, and you need to clip them on Crown Falls. We just haven't got enough room. So the lemonade needs saltpeter, sugar, citrus, and sugarcane. Souvenirs need glass, cotton, camphor wax, and sand. Shampoo, this works in a lacquer, same building as a lacquer, chemical plant lacquer. This needs soap, coconut oil, and cinnamon. The soap is a piece of cake. We're going to be generating all of the tallow that we need via the chemical plant shampoo itself because of the re-rendering works. There's an item that gives tallow back, plus all of the lobster fisheries in Embassador is going to generate all the tallow. So that's no problem. The jewellery is a big problem because the numbers that we need for 4 million tourists. Let me just check the make sure there's a woman that we put in the town hall. This woman, Madame Blanc, Maître de Hotel, she reduces the need of jam and bread by 20%. So she is in there. So we need 2,000 tons of jam a minute. We're going to be generating some extra goods by the Bronze Age. We're going to be generating some by a specialist that affects the cafe, bar and restaurant. 450 tons in fact, but we are still going to have to produce around about 1,400 tons of jam. Now that is a lot of clipped orchards. It's going to be around about 380 by the time I've reduced that 450 off. 380 clipped orchards. If we decide to clip them, that is. We need 2,560 tons of fur coats, 768 tons of chemical plant shampoo, 2,560 tons of jewels. The rest is just stuff for recipes. So we need 450 tons of chocolate, 450 tons of rum. These are the recipes that I chose. The lobster cheminée. This uses lobsters, citrus and tobacco. Lobsters we can get from Embessa. I chose the eclair for the cafe. This uses chocolate, sugar and flour. I chose Embessa Sunrise. This uses hibiscus petals, spices and rum. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to make. The lobster cheminée may get swapped. I mainly wanted to use it because it's just using the lobsters, but the tobacco may be an issue. The citrus will not, because we are producing that via our clipped jam orchards. The eclair, again, that is a recipe that may well be swapped out. This donut one was not an option because it uses jam. I can't be dealing with any more orchards. This one was going to be an option, the venison tartare, because we will be producing a lot of citrus. Grapes we're going to be getting from our bakeries. Caribou meat from the Arctic. So yeah, I may well mix some of these recipes in. Obviously, we've got to make the bread. We will be generating grapes from the bread. So I may use the grapes generated from the bread to make the venison tartare, and then the rest we'll make the eclair, the recipe that I showed you earlier. This one is a no-go because it needs cinnamon, and I can't produce another 450 tons of cinnamon. The 450 is the number of town halls, because each one of these town halls has got a bar, a restaurant or a cafe. There's roughly 450 town halls in the Old World and the Cape, so 450 bars or restaurants. 450 of each one will be needed. Yeah, they then need access to a docklands. They then need access to a museum, a World's Fair, or a Skyline Tower. You need 3 of these. Excuse me. You need 3 of these to make the hotspot full, to then get the maximum population for a hotel, which is 660. 660 residents possible. So if we do 660, that's how many possible tourists in a hotel. Multiply that by 16, which is the number of hotels we get around town hall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 is 10,560 tourists per cluster. We times that by 450. That's 4,752,000. Now, that's leaving me, if I aim for 4 million, that's leaving me 750 short, which is about 3 large islands. So I'm thinking I may have to increase my calculations because I didn't want to leave that much. Let's just put in 4,500,000 and be done with it. 4,500,000. It's 2,250 tons of jam, 864 tons of shampoo. It's the New World stuff that is a real pain. We need nearly 1,000 tons of coconut oil and 1,000 tons of cinnamon. This is simply for the shampoo, which you've got to give them. So one of my first jobs is going to be It's got to be the New World. I need to know. I need to make the coconut oil and cinnamon first. Then that dictates how much space I've got to make the rest of the goods, because I want to make as much of this in the New World as I can. The 1,600 tons of grain needs to be made in the New World. Sugar, 900 tons of sugar. Cocoa, we don't need to worry about that because the chocolate will be coming from our bakeries. Yeah. Tobacco. 450 tons of tobacco. Citrus, we should be good. So yeah, 450 tons of potatoes. There's a lot of stuff to be made in the New World. Probably getting a little bit ahead of myself anyway. This was just going to be a little introduction video, so consider you introduced to my new Let's Play, which is going to be 4.5 million tourists. Madness. Everybody's going to ask me why are you doing this, and it's just for the pure fun of it. I love building super efficient islands. I love doing all these calculations. I've already started working out which items I'm going to use. This is for the soap. This is for the jewellery. Workforce is going to become a problem. We're going to have to shift production in between regions again, like we did in our last playthrough, because the sheer amount of workforce that these jewellers and fur dealers use. This is the production for the fur dealers. I'm going to need to use pretty much every single mine in the old world and the Cape generating me iron to make fur coats, and then we still might not have enough. So I need to craft an awful lot of items from the Arctic, so we will be doing a lot of scrap farming. A lot of very, very boring stuff. I'll try and do that. Keep that away from you guys, but yeah, I'll keep you updated. First thing I'm going to do is build up the cinnamon and coconut oil in the New World. I'm going to get working on that pretty much as soon as I stop doing this video for you guys. Yeah, and then I'll give you an update when that's done. I'll let you know how much space that takes up in the New World, and we'll see what space we've got left and start planning everything else out using the haciendas and that. But yeah, stay tuned. 4.5 million tourists inbound. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I checked my YouTube analytics for the first time the other day, and the numbers are crazy. It's like only 22% of people watch my videos are subscribed. I understand that not everybody has a YouTube account and just watch on their video on their lunch breaks and stuff, but yeah, that really surprised me. I thought it would be higher. If you do have a YouTube account and you've got 2 minutes of your time, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out drastically. But yeah, for now that's it. Stay tuned for more min-max madness. 4.5 million tourists inbound. Thanks for watching.